Hello, welcome to Beta Feminist Podcast, the podcast where we talk about feminist issues from the perspective of an African woman living in Africa. I am your resident Beta Feminist host, Ijoma. With every movement, there are adherents who dilute parts of it to suit them, then practice and pass off that adulterated mix as the real thing. Feminism is not left out. Today we'll be talking about one major adulteration of feminism. It is called Feminism Lite. Let's get into it. Feminism Lite was coined by Chimamanda Adichie. She's the most prominent self-proclaimed feminist in Nigeria. By self-proclaimed, I mean she was and is proud of the feminist tag. Other popular African or Nigerian women before her who had feminist leanings were ashamed to be tagged feminists. Adichie embraced it and owned it. In 2017, she talked about the adulterated form of feminism, Feminism Lite. According to her, it is the idea of conditional female equality. Let me explain it in my own way. It is when feminists or women who identify as feminists try to sell you this soft-core feminism where the man retains the headship and the woman subtly controls him. It's like that silly head and neck analogy where they tell you he is the head and you are the neck, but don't worry because the neck controls the head. That is a prime example of Feminism Lite. Some feminists tell you that feminism shouldn't be brought into the home. They tell you that they practice feminism outdoors, but once they get home, they hang the coat of feminism and submit to their husbands. I'm not even joking. A tweet much like this went viral. Let me read it out. A lady said, "I am a feminist to the core." I'm doing this fake voice, so you know that I'm reading someone else's tweets. "I am a feminist to the core. There in my office and at school. I take my children out of the house when I want to teach them about feminism. When we get home, I purposely hang my feminist coat at the gate and become a wife and mom. That doesn't diminish my value. I submit to one man. The coat is a metaphor of the vigor of the fight, not that my beliefs change. I am just not proving my equality to my husband at home. That's all I meant." Isn't that just totally ridiculous and silly and stupid? Now, that's a prime example of Feminism Lite. She talks about submitting, not bringing feminism into the home, not teaching her children feminism while they are in the house, not proving or demanding equality towards her husband. That is the Feminism Lite trifecta right there. Feminism Lite rejects equality and settles for equity. You hear them go, "Equality is not realistic. That is why I settle for equity and fairness. Men should treat their women fairly." Feminism is not looking for handouts from men. It's not about begging for male benevolence to be bestowed upon us helpless females. I'm rolling my eyes as I'm saying this. Feminism demands equality, not equity. But Feminism Lite, on the other hand, tries to tell you that if you're good, you can get some parts of equity. There is this thing they tell us that when your husband loves you, you submit naturally to him. That's Feminism Lite telling you. Submission is earned. We don't just give you submission. If you love us well, we'll submit to you. Why do you need to submit to somebody? You love your husband well. Does he submit to you? Why is it a one-way street? No matter how much you love your husband, you don't expect him to submit to you. You don't expect him to bow to you. So why do you think that, he's a nice guy, so he has earned my submission? Why is it a one-way street? And that is what Feminism Lite teaches. It is just a diluted way of selling patriarchy, but with sprinkles and a little bit of ice cream. I came across a post of a woman in her late 40s or early 50s who oftentimes preaches equality. So in her post, she was thanking her husband for allowing her have a voice on social media. That word, allow, it's a subconscious, I don't know whether they do it subconsciously or it's a conscious thing they do. But we all know that the word allow denotes power. A person who allows you to do something has power over you. You cannot say, "I allowed my husband work," or "I allowed my husband use social media." But it is common for women to say, "My husband, I'm grateful because my husband allowed me to be on social media." You don't know that some men, once you marry them, they will tell you to leave Facebook. They'll tell you to leave Twitter. That word, allow. And some feminists don't see anything wrong with it. At your big age, you still give men power over every little thing about you, up to allowing you to be on Facebook. Come on, Facebook. So that means if he had said no, you know, go get voice for social media. You go just, if he has said no social media, you just close your apps, delete your account on Facebook, you know, and that's it. If you seek permission for something as harmless as Facebook, that means you would write an application if you want to run for an office in the future. This is where Feminism Lite is leading us to, where they tell you, yes, you have power, you are equal, but don't rub your equality in his face. You style and beg him. Ask for permission before you do stuff like that. Things that when you flip it, it doesn't make sense. A man can never ask his wife permission to be on Facebook. Somebody who was already on Facebook and he gets married, he's not going to be like, honey, can I still continue keeping my Facebook account? Or you won't see him when he's 50 years at that big age coming out to say, thank you to my wife for allowing me to be on Facebook. Otherwise, I will not get this platform. These are stupid things when you think of it from the other end, when you view it from the perspective of a man. Any man who does this, any man who comes out to say, thank you to is viewed as a fool. If a man makes that post on Facebook, I guarantee you it would have haha reactions, because people are going to think he's actually just cracking a joke. Nobody will take him seriously. But a woman does it and people go, see, this is the kind of feminism we like. This is the kind of feminism that understands that a man should not be ridiculed. A man should also be respected. No, it's not about respecting a man. It's about acknowledging that the man is still superior while still trying to hold on to being a feminist. You know, you want to eat your cake and have it. These little things look like they don't matter, but they do. Imagine if someone who advocates for putting an end to racism saying stuff like, whites and blacks are equal and deserve equal rights. However, we should take permission from whites before we protest. We can reject racial injustice outside the house, but inside the house, we should not do all of that because our landlord is white. We don't want to make him look like we hate white people. This is what you do when you practice Feminism Lite. It makes no sense. If you're going to reject a movement, reject it. If you're going to reject an oppression, reject it in total. Don't sell a watered down version of it. And this is why we reject Feminism Lite. Because at the core of Feminism Lite is the belief that men are superior to women, which is exactly the opposite of what feminism is about. Let me give you another example. So there was a time, I think this was 2019, when Mike of BBN fame, he spent, I think, probably 90 days in the house and he came out. When he came out, they started trending the hashtag man like Mike. It came to Facebook and Facebook feminists, married Facebook feminists actually, started using it as a hashtag to praise the man for being faithful to his wife on international TV for just 90 days. Now, this Mike guy did nothing extraordinary. He did not win. All he did was keep his hands to himself and respect his vows for just 3 months on screen. He was newly married before he got into the house. He's not like, he's been in a rut. His marriage has been there for 50 years. So obviously he's looking for a chance to cheat. No, this man was married for just a few weeks before he entered the house. And he kept his vows and his hands to himself for 3 months. And then married feminists wanted to throw him a party. It became a thing. They were trending the hashtag man like Mike. We are celebrating you for not disrespecting your wife, for being a good man and keeping your penis to yourself, for not having sex with any woman there on BBN. Mind you, single men, there were lots of single men who went into the house. I don't think any guy actually had sex in the house that season. I don't think any single guy had sex. In fact, all the men that went in there, I think it was just one guy that had sex that season. Apart from that, all of them, over 12 or something men that went in there, came in, kept their hands to themselves, did not have sex with anybody, and came out. Single men, normal men. But this man was being praised and exalted simply because he was married and he did not cheat. Now, when single feminists tried to let them know that, why are we praising this man for keeping his hands to himself for just 3 months? 3 months. Something that every other person in the house did. Why are we singling it? Is the bar that low? It became a thing. It became, you people, it became a clash. It became a war of some sort. This is Feminism Lite in action, where you feel you have to praise a man for doing the barest minimum, where the fact that a man stayed faithful to his wife for 3 months on screen, where camera is following him, his every move, you feel is something to be exalted, something to be praised. something so rare, and this is what Feminism Lite pushes. So when a man does the barest minimum, when a man backs his child, when a man stays with his child, they go, see this man, oh God, you're such a good man. God will bless you for something. How can you demand for equality? How can you demand that men share chores? How can you be against gender roles? And when they do this little thing, you're so happy. You carry arms, you rent a band, you do a march past just because of this. It doesn't make sense. And I remember then we said to ourselves, if a married woman, a really happily married woman who just got married a few days to entering BBN house, if a married woman enters the house and keeps her vows for 3 months, it's expected. It's not something that they will throw a march past for you. Nobody, when the woman comes out, nobody is going to be hailing her. Why, Oma, you've done so. Nobody, because that is what is expected. But when a man does it, we have to throw a match past. Likewise, when you take care of your child as a woman, nobody is going to be throwing a party for you. Nobody is going to be throwing confetti and saying, what a good woman. Yeah, you're bathing your child, you're backing your child, you're feeding your child. But when a man backs his child and posts a picture everywhere, they glorify it. It's great. And when you say, but this is what he's supposed to do, he's taking care of his child, it's not babysitting, it's his child. Feminism Lite adherents come at you and be like, why don't you appreciate the man for the little he has done? Praise him. He's even trying. Some men can't. And that is what Feminism Lite pushes. So every small thing a man does is to be glorified. Feminism Lite is rooted in the belief that men are actually superior and deserve some sort of appreciation or special treatment for being the superior gender. If treated well, you get to enjoy some benefits from them. Feminism Lite is a hybrid consisting of 2 parts patriarchy and 1 part feminism. It's a concoction that patriarchal women find easier to consume or accept more than feminism in its unadulterated form. To most people, feminism is harsh, it's abrasive, it's bitter. The idea that men are not heads, the idea that you are as a woman, you are equal to a man, it's alarming. So they do some sort of mental arithmetic and think, okay, instead of 50-50, how about we do 60-40 or 70-30 or 65-35? How about he retains headship and we still submit, but we still collect 1 or 2 parts of equality, 1 or 2 perks of equality, And that's good if that's what you're going for, but that's not feminism and shouldn't be passed off as feminism. What you're practicing or passing off is a whole different idea on its own, which is potentially dangerous. It's like mixing petrol and kerosene and passing it off as kerosene or passing it off as petrol. The resultant product is neither petrol or kerosene. What it is potentially dangerous. Feminism Lite serves no purpose towards the advancement of the equality movement. If anything, it derails it. It's like giving a starving man a spoon of rice daily. Enough to keep him alive, but not really enough to satisfy him or save him from starvation. And that is what you do when you practice Feminism Lite and call it feminism. The generation under you, your kids see you and they see this fangled feminism that you practice, and they would likely take it up. And it is potentially dangerous because, like I said, it's like giving a starving man just 1 spoon. What you're not getting the equality that you're supposed to get. You're getting just some side attractions. The man is still your head. You don't get what you're supposed to get. It's not enough to satisfy you. It's just enough to not make you die from starvation. So it's like mixing fuel and kerosene. It is potentially dangerous because if this version becomes widespread, we'll end up losing the little progress we've made. The biggest adherents of Feminism Lite are married women or feminists who desire marriage so much. It's bewildering how much marriage changes some women. They want to enjoy patriarchal privileges and pander to men, yet answer feminists and enjoy feminist privileges. No, you cannot serve 2 masters at the same time. You're either a feminist or not. You're either in or out. Don't stand at the doorway. You're either hot or cold. That lukewarm Feminism Lite should be spit out. That's all for today. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode of Bitter Feminist Podcast. Follow us at Bitter Feminist Podcast on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok. You can drop your contributions, questions, or even hot takes on any of our social media platforms. I'm still your host, Ijoma. See you on our next episode. Bye.